Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, this is the image that I drew up and sent out to our managers of agronomic services here across the Canadian Prairie, and it's one that really is, it's a simple pattern. It's cold, and it's fairly dry, fairly moisture-starved, with little clipper-like systems traveling from northwest to southeast across the region. One here coming through on the 3rd and the 4th, that would be on Sunday and Monday, and then another one here that could bring some light snow to primarily parts of Alberta on Tuesday, November 1st. As you look at the upper level jet stream pattern here on this, the first day of November, split flow across the Pacific Ocean, very fast jet stream flow across the central U.S., and we've got a well-defined trough that was associated with that storm system that brought some snow to our area here in parts of the Midwest of the United States, kicking off across the northeastern United States, and then also this Friday morning, another subtle wave dropping out of the prairie into the northern plains, bringing some light snow showers to the Dakotas. Now, as we head through the next few days, this is the pattern. Kind of an upper-level trough situated over the Hudson Bay. Flow doing something like this across the Canadian Prairie. That means reinforcing shots of cooler air, a very cold air mass setting up anywhere from eastern Alaska into the prairie and then down into the Midwest. Widespread cold air outbreak as we talk about the next 10 days. Looking at the next 5 on the left, and then getting a reinforcing shot coming in here midweek. Some very cold air, again, stretching from eastern Alaska through the Canadian Prairie down into the eastern United States, where we're talking about temperatures perhaps 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit or about 5 to 15 degrees Celsius cooler than average across that entire region, and that does include the Canadian Prairie here. Now, again, it's a drier forecast. We're looking at the national blended model here. This is focused on the U.S., but we can pick up the prairie. This is mostly coming from the late weekend storm systems here, and a lot of that going to be heavier precipitation in the higher elevation areas with very light amounts, trace amounts here, opportunities for some flurries, some light showers across the prairie as we head through the next week. Not talking about significant precipitation, however. As we jump ahead, we'll take a look at the 500 millibar upper level pattern, and that is going to illustrate it as we watch for these. We're looking at the 500 millibar vorticity forecast, and we look for these larger signals. That's associated with our major storm systems. That's the big storm system that brought snow to the Midwest and then is now impacting the northeastern United States today. More subtle features, though, these little ribbons here, that little trough embedded within the flow, those are the disturbances that are maybe capable of producing some cloud cover, maybe just enough lift for some light showers, some light snow flurries. And as we kind of take this into the next few days, I want you to just kind of watch this region, watch the northwest to southeast parade of these subtle little disturbances tracking through the prairie and into the northern U.S. as we just head through the weekend now. Heading into next week, here's one right now making its way through parts of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. That's on Tuesday. Here comes another little ripple within the flow. It's just these subtle little, the red shading there, the orange shading there. Here comes another one, a little more organized, trying to move into the region as we get into, now we're talking about way out into November 10th and 11th, but as I just kind of move this back and forth, you're seeing that northwest to southeast flow across the region here, bringing these subtle little disturbances out of the north through the region. So it would be wrong then to call this a quiet pattern. It's fairly active, but the direction, the alignment is all wrong for significant snowstorm producing or significant storm system producing moisture levels here. As we look at the precipitable water forecast, this is a way of looking at the moisture content within the atmosphere. Again, we see the high values surging out in advance of that storm system across the East Coast. Very dry air, though, punching in on the backside, coming out of Canada into the U.S., and that's what you're going to watch as we head through the next week or so, watching the deeper moisture be kind of suppressed here down toward the Gulf of Mexico as we watch reinforcing shots of drier air punching into this region, not only drier, but cooler air in this region. And then again, without the feed of moisture coming northward from the Gulf of Mexico, we're not talking about significant precipitation or significant storm systems. So with this alignment in mind, as I take the drawings off, just watch the flow here as we head through the next week or so. You're seeing that flow come out of the northwest. Dry shot right there. Here comes another shot of dry air. Here comes yet another shot of dry air. And even as we get all the way out to November 10th, we're trying to see some Gulf moisture attempt to feed in from the southern U.S. into parts of the eastern Corn Belt, but certainly not making its way northward into the northern plains of the Great Lakes. Certainly not making its way into the Canadian Prairie as again, reinforcing shot after reinforcing shot of cold, dry air spills into the region. We can take a look at the temperature anomaly forecast from the European model, and what you're going to see here is just these reloading waves of cold air across the prairies and areas northward up towards eastern Alaska, making their way down into the Midwest, into the eastern United States. So taking this through the next week or so, getting into early next week here, Sunday, a reinforcing shot there. Some of the coldest air comes into the region Tuesday and Wednesday. Here we see another shot of cooler air making its way in during the later part of next week. And then one thing I want to point out is it's a cooler pattern overall, but at times with some of these subtle systems coming through, we do still get the warm air advection on the leading edge here. And so perhaps warm day or two mixed in as some of these storm systems make their way in with warm air in advance, but then that reinforcing shot of cooler air coming in. So take next Friday, November 8th, for example, perhaps some warmth reaching into the prairie before another front brings it to a close. So any warm days that we do find in here, I'm letting you know they may exist. It's going to be, a 1, maybe 2 day warm up, with the overall pattern over the next 10 to 14 days really favoring below normal temperatures. And again, very light opportunities for precipitation. As we play this loop out, you're going to focus in on this region, just watching the northwest to southeast flow, watching, the big storm system that's exiting the area now, kind of bringing that to an end, where we see that kind of thing setting up across the U.S. and Canada, looking more for things like this, where we've got this subtle storm system with just light opportunities for some snow showers in isolated fashion surrounding it. So let's go ahead, we'll take it back, go through the day Friday. Here comes, we talked about a Sunday, Monday system. Here it comes, making its way through, bringing light opportunities for some snow to the prairie as we head through the weekend. The more significant precipitation possible across higher elevation areas now near Alberta and British Columbia as we head into Monday and Tuesday, where we've got some better lift in the region, high pressure coming in on the backside then midweek. Perhaps looking at another storm system making its way through towards the end of next week into the weekend. Low confidence with that, so we will focus on just the next 5 to 7 days as they stand right now. So the total probability from the GFS model then of picking up at least 3 inches of snow, or about 7.5 centimeters of snow. And again, focusing in on high elevation areas here in western Alberta, eastern British Columbia, perhaps some of the more northern regions here north of Highway 16, north of Winnipeg, and parts of eastern Manitoba into Ontario. And then perhaps some areas here near the southern prairie and southern Saskatchewan getting higher probabilities here. But the message is here that low probability is widespread of even picking up 7.5 centimeters of snow over the next 5 to 7 days. Really just maybe perhaps even daily chances for these light snow showers and light snow flurries, but most areas picking up 5 to 10 centimeters of snow or less. And the majority of folks going to be picking up less. So as we just take a look at the GFS precipitation forecast, taking it out into mid next week, once again, you're going to just focus on a pattern that shows light precipitation opportunities kind of in this region with those light snow showers, light rain showers occurring at times, but the real significant precipitation finally coming to an end across the central U.S., and that is going to shut things down across the prairie over the next week or two as well in terms of, high impact major precipitation events. So just taking a closer look at Alberta then to finish this up, total precipitation taking it through Tuesday through Wednesday. So all the way through 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Let's go ahead and we'll bring it back. And there you see the higher elevation areas, portions of western Alberta. This could include Calgary picking up 20 to 30 millimeters of liquid precipitation over the next 5 days. But as you look at the primary prairie region, most areas definitely staying on the light side, talking about 10 millimeters or less of precipitation. The total snowfall accumulation forecast that accompanies this, we'll go ahead and bring it out light across the entire weekend. It's really as we get to late Sunday into Tuesday that we're looking at the more significant snowfall risks here. And again, primarily high elevation areas. Calgary perhaps picking up, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Some of the highest totals here, 15 to 20 centimeters of snow. But as you look again at the primary prairie region, the rest of us here looking at very light amounts, trace amounts, perhaps some areas not picking up any, other areas definitely still staying below, 5 to 10 millimeters or 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. Your high temperatures for the day on Friday, right around 5, 6, 7 degrees across Alberta, dropping down to near freezing overnight. Right around 5 degrees again for the day tomorrow, maybe 8 degrees across the south. Waking up on Sunday morning with temperatures right around freezing or a couple degrees above. Same story for the day on Sunday. High temperatures around 5 or 6 degrees across the southern prairie, getting up to near freezing as you head northward from there. Shifting things off to the east, then looking at Saskatchewan and Manitoba, total precipitation much lighter in this area, not seeing the higher impacts or the higher precipitation that we do see from the late weekend system across western Alberta. Total precipitation over the next 5 days as we go through Wednesday here, a scattering here of 5 to 10 millimeters of precipitation. Many areas picking up less, perhaps just a trace. Total snow here going to be, again, very light in nature, looking at less than 5 centimeters for just about everyone. Perhaps some areas not picking up any accumulation. Again, it's just these daily opportunities for perhaps some light snow showers, some light nuisance snow showers, maybe giving trace amounts of accumulation each time. Your high temperatures near zero for the day on Friday, dropping below zero, about -5 at worst here across the prairie overnight tonight into Saturday morning. Warming up on Saturday into the lower single digits, dropping back below zero for everyone except southwestern Saskatchewan overnight Saturday into Sunday morning. And then chilly again for the day on Sunday. High temperatures only around 0 degrees, perhaps a couple degrees below that in some areas. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks across North America on Monday morning. At the same time, I will be back with your next regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie as we head through this very cold pattern over the next 2 weeks. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.